Qwen 3.8 27B finally dropped this morning. It is a great day to be an AI nerd. Let's take this new model, put it through its paces, and see if it lives up to the expectations.
No place like local host. No place like local host.
Okay, let's jump right into it. I've downloaded 3 different versions of this model. I've got Unsloth's Q6, Q5, and Q4. The Q4 is 18 gigs, the Q5 is 20 gigs, and the Q6 is 26 gigs. Now I can run the Q6. I've got 36 gigs of combined VRAM, but I've got to choose a smaller context window. Let's take a look at that. Here's my settings for Q6. I'm basically taking the settings that I used for 3.6 27B. They look like this. I'm going to give it a context size of 64,000, and I'm going to use MTP to try to speed it up a bit. Basically the same stuff that we did with Qwen 3.6 27B. Let's start that up. Okay, if we slide over to NVTop, we see I'm using just over 10 gigs out of 12 on card 1 and just under 21 out of 24 on card 2. This is about as high as I can go before it starts to spill over into system memory and it slows down quite a bit. But it's good enough for a quick test. So let's bring up the web UI. And we'll ask our favorite testing question. What does the transient keyword do in Java? And let it go. We see we're getting about the same speed. 25 is a little bit slower than what I got out of 27B for 3.6. So if we look at the console, we're getting about the same speed range that I see out of the 3.6 model, between 25 and 35-ish tokens per second. It fired off response. I noticed that its response is a lot shorter than the typical responses that I get. I like that testing question because it generates a lot of text and we can gauge its output speed. But this was quite small. Let's also take a look at the thinking, because this is kind of interesting. I noticed this a few times in my testing just before I started filming. It looks like it's using caveman speak, like we need answer user, need produce final. Yeah, I think this is an optimization to reduce token usage, because you can output sentences that are not grammatically correct, not complete sentences, and they still have the same meaning, so you save tokens. This is similar to I don't know if you guys have seen this on GitHub, but there's a Talk Like a Caveman for LLMs. This is not my project. This is on GitHub. But the idea is that you reduce the verbosity of here's an example. So a normal agent would issue complete sentences that are correct, but also quite long. And the caveman just sums it up, like why use many token when few token do trick. Great. But personally, I'm not wild about this style. I prefer complete sentences, and because I'm completely local, reducing my token usage is not really high on my list of priorities. I will say that this caveman style speaking, I only see it in the thinking data. I don't see it in the actual output. The actual output is in correct and complete English or German or whatever language you're talking to it in. So it's only in the thinking data that it tries to compress the thinking data by thinking to itself like a caveman. Personally, I'm not wild about this, but I can see the appeal of it. If you're concerned about token usage, this will help. Okay, let's put the web browser to one side and let's look at an actual task. What I want to do is put this thing to work. So let's give it a couple of real-world tasks. I've got an application that I've been working on called TalkWithMe. I've actually shown it on this channel a couple of times. It's pretty cool. I've got a version 4 is coming up. Spoilers, there'll be a video very shortly on version 4 once it's finished. There's still a few code problems though. So let's go to open code. Oh, actually, let's stop Q6 because I don't have enough context to do this. Let's look at our Q4 config. If I go down to Unsloth's Q4, which is only 18 gigs, I think, I can load a much larger context window, which is going to be vital for this task because it's going to need a lot of context to understand the code base I'm about to throw at it. So we are going to go down a bit in size, but in exchange for the smaller quantization of the model, we'll get more room for context. So let's take a look at NVTop as it loads up. We see that it jumped up to just under 10 gigs out of 12 on card 1 and just under 21 out of 24 on card 2. That's about the same as what we just saw with Q6 because I'm requesting a much larger context window. The context window went from 64,000 to 164,000. So now I've got, I hope, enough context for OpenCode to do this next task. Let's take a look at this. Okay, so we're in OpenCode. I've loaded Qwen 3.8 27B at Q4 with a large context window. And I'm going to say this branch, we're on the 4.0 dev branch. So it's all of the changes that I've got so far for version 4 of this application. It's almost complete, almost ready to release, but there's still, I think, a couple of problems in the code, and we're going to find them right here. So I'm in my code review agent, the Grizzled Senior Dev. You can grab this code review agent off my GitHub if you want. I quite like it. I like it because it generates code review output in a structured format that's really easy to read. So let's do this. This branch contains all changes for the upcoming 4.0 release. There's a change log listing the proposed changes in the README. So what I want you to do is compare this branch to master and do a thorough code review. Are the changes well implemented? Have we broken existing functionality? Are the changes well documented? The audio buffer changes in particular concern me, as we may have, I'm almost positive we did, introduce a race condition when in TTS streaming sentence by sentence mode with the new persona to persona chat feature enabled. Incoming audio chunks must be associated with the correct message. So what's happening is, maybe a quick demo is in order. Okay, a picture's worth 1,000 words, so let's take a look at this. Here's the application. This is, it still says version 3. I haven't updated it. This is a pre-release of version 4, so let's take a look at this. I've added a new feature called, I don't want to spoil this for the video that's coming up, but I've added a new feature, Max Persona Replies. This is how many personas will reply when you type something or speak something. By default, it's 1, but we can set it to 3. So I can say something like, I think words are stronger than weapons, and the LLM will answer me 3 times.
Precisely. A well-placed argument can achieve what a phaser never could. Diplomacy is the foundation of a civilized galaxy. Engage.
Indeed, Captain. Empathy and understanding are the most powerful tools we possess. When we communicate with intent, we build bridges that weapons can only destroy.
Your metaphorical bridges lack physical structural integrity. However, linguistic data suggests communication can indeed prevent kinetic conflict. I find your reliance on empathy mathematically inefficient.
So the personas can now not just reply to you, but they can respond to each other. It feels more like an actual group chat. Spoiler alert for the upcoming video on this subject. But here's the problem. In streaming mode, sentence by sentence, the text for each persona's reply gets sent up to the text-to-speech server one by one, and they come back in chunks. We have to reassemble that and associate it with the correct message. So Captain Picard said 4 sentences, so he gets 4 replay buttons underneath his speech bubble. So you can
precisely
replay specific sentences. Same thing for Counselor Troy, and then same thing for Data. I'm surprised Worf didn't weigh in on that one. He usually does when I say that, but whatever. Okay, so that's great, but you notice that the chat messages came back much more quickly than the speech came back, because the text-to-speech server is still very slow compared to the LLM. What can happen is, if the audio for Captain Picard comes back while Data is streaming his text response, it can sometimes get confused, and it can associate that speech with the wrong, it'll put the replay button in the wrong place, or it won't list it at all. It'll get confused as to who's speaking, and there's a race condition in here somewhere. So what I want is an LLM to go in here and find any problems that exist in the code and recommend solutions for fixes. That's what my code review agent is here for. So, okay, so back in open code now, I'm basically just asking for a thorough code review of these changes, and specifically with a specific emphasis on the audio buffer changes, because I'm like 94% sure that there's a race condition in there. So I'm going to let Qwen 3.8 take a look at this. And just as a comparison baseline, I've already done this with Qwen 3.627b, so it'll be interesting to compare the results. Spoiler alert, there is in fact a problem in the code. Let's see if Qwen 3.8 can find it and give me a code review similar to, or maybe exactly like, the one that I got from Qwen 3.6. Let's let it run. Oh, let me bring up my stopwatch. 1757, not exactly fast, but we were getting decent-ish speeds. We were getting pretty consistently between 25 and 35, which is roughly on par with what I get from Qwen 3.6. Okay, let's look at the actual result. Oh no. Oh no. What do we got here? The part you're worried about is actually the best code in the diff. The per persona audio association refactor is correct, and it's commented. No. So it's going through scenarios, and it says it's all good. Verdict on your concern, no race condition introduced. Incoming audio chunks are associated with the correct message in all reachable interleavings. Okay, so it did find bugs. these are bugs, but these aren't show-stopping bugs. And that's a problem because the same prompt with the same branch in 3.6 found a pretty huge bug. Stale per persona message ID misattribute streaming TTS audio across turns. What this means, what this boils down to, is that there is in fact a problem if multiple personas are responding to the same user message. Qwen 3.6 found a problem and identified a small fix that might fix it. And I took that to GitHub Copilot with this code and with the bug report from Qwen 3.6, and I said, "Hey, is this bug report legit?" And Copilot said, "Yeah, it's legit and it's accurate, and the bug is real." So there is a bug in here, and Qwen 3.8 just missed it. We're not off to a good start here. How much context did we use? We used 102,000 tokens, 59%. Let me take the bug report that I got and just see if Qwen 3.8 can confirm it. Let's try this. So I feel like I'm leading the witness here, but let's try this. I received a bug report from another reviewer that indicates that there is in fact a problem in this code. Do you agree with this report? Can you confirm that it's a bug? And if so, do you agree with the recommended fix? And I'm just going to paste in just that snippet from the review in the same session. So it's already familiar with the code. It's got 102,000 tokens of context that it already knows about. Let's see. Where'd my stopwatch go? Let me bring that back and see if it can confirm the bug.
I booted up on my own machine.
Okay, 6 minutes, and I have a feeling I know what it's going to say. So, yes, I agree with the report. It's a real bug. It's a regression, and I was wrong to wave it through. So it's apologizing for not catching this. The regression versus master is real, and the report's baseline check is accurate. Owning my miss. Owning my miss. In my original review, I did flag this exact map as never pruned, and I did propose the same fix, move the ID generation to start, but I filed it under residual edge case, not a blocker, and I had the dominant direction backwards. The report is right, and I was wrong about the severity. Wow. Okay, that might have just been a bad, an unlucky strike. It did acknowledge the bug exists once I told it exactly what it was. Let's, maybe it was, no, it wasn't. I was at Q4 with the other model. I was going to say I might be comparing Q6 to Q4, but I'm not, because the reviewer was also, the first reviewer was also Q4 with the same context size and the same settings. Let's give it a chance at redemption here. Okay, please implement the fix for this critical bug and I'll review it. I've switched to my coding agent so it can go out, and I think it's a small change. We're only at 113,000 tokens of context, so we're like 2/3 of the way to the limit, so it should be able to just do this, and then we can test it.
Spin it up, watch it fly close to home. You
27 minutes, 44 seconds. It triggered open code compaction, and if I look at the diff, this was supposed to be a 15-line change according to the original report, and it changed a lot more than 15 lines. I have low confidence. One nice thing I'll say is that it did, on the fly, it did create and run an actual test where it stubbed out the LLM and it fired up the API and actually simulated the scenario where this could happen. And that test passed. So good for you for doing that, but my confidence has dropped a little bit. Let's go back into here. Same settings. I say we fire our phasers at the next ship we see.
A warrior does not strike blindly. We must identify the target first. To fire without purpose is the mark of a coward.
Worf, your passion for honor is clear.
However, let's explore the underlying tension driving this impulse. Understanding the emotion behind the action is vital.
I have analyzed your statements. Lieutenant Worf's adherence to Klingon honor and Counselor Troy's focus on emotional subtext are noted. I recommend scanning the target first.
Okay, so this might be a TTS problem, but this doesn't sound like...
Worf, your passion for honor is clear.
I don't know what that voice is, but it looks like everything got assigned correctly. God, okay, I don't know. Let me go back to Qwen 3.6. Okay, I'm in 3.6, 27B, at Q6. I'm going to tab to my code review agent. Okay, take a look at the uncommitted changes. I'm trying to fix a potential bug. What do you think of this fix? Does it address the problem? And for context, I'm going to paste that same original bug report. And let's let the code review agent take a look at that and take a look at the changes that 3.8 just spat out and see if it actually addresses the problem according to the... I don't know what to make of this. Okay, just about 3 minutes. My camera died halfway through that. All right, what do we got? A genuinely good fix. You took the right approach. Travel the ID with the work. Don't look it up in a shared state at resolution time. Okay, it updated agents.md. Verdict, ship it. This is a clean, well-documented fix that eliminates the root cause rather than patching around it. The deleted code was a liability. The replacement is a single assignment. If I have one complaint, it's that the old code existed long enough to deserve. Okay, come on. Wise guy. Okay. I don't know what to make of that. So it's weird that Qwen 3.8 didn't spot the bug. It was looking right at it, and it passed it in the code review. In the original review, it looked right at it and said, yeah, that's fine. Once I pointed out that, no, wait, we do have a bug there, it spotted it, it spotted it, and it identified the fix. And when I told it to fix it, to be fair, even despite running into session compaction, it did fix it, and the fix does look good, according to Qwen 3.6. So, good? I guess? Is that good or bad? Good that it fixed it, bad that it missed it? I don't know how to make that. I don't know what to make of that. Okay. Let me back up. Let me reset. Let's try a different task. Let's try a completely different task. Okay, we're going to go back to a task that we did a couple of LLM battles ago. This was for the Swing Extras technical documentation, LLM Battle 4. I'll link it up here if you haven't seen that one. What we did was we took a mature Java library, a fairly large one, which has a large documentation set. So here's the technical documentation for this Java library. It's huge. This library's been in progress for many years, and there's a lot of documentation. And the problem that we addressed in that LLM battle was that the library code has fallen out of sync with the technical documentation. And what we did was we went to OpenCode, Qwen versus Gemma, I think that one was, and we just said, look, I want you to look at the docs, and I want you to look at the code, and I want you to update the documentation to match the current state of the code. And it went off and it found a bunch of gaps, and it filled in the technical documentation. So let's revisit that. I still have the same prompt. I'm in that directory. I created a new branch. It's clean, and I'm using Qwen 3.8 27B at Q4 with the same context window we were just using, 164,000. So the prompt looks like this. This directory is an MDBook project that aims to thoroughly document this library. You can find it here. Your job is to review the docs, identify gaps or stale documentation, and change the docs as needed. Let's time this. Now, we did this with Gemma 4 and Qwen something. Was it the MOE? I think it was the MOE models of Gemma and Qwen. So let's see what Qwen 3.8 27B comes up with compared to the results we got from that battle episode. I seem to remember we had one kind of mediocre result and one quite good result. This should be at least as good as the good result we had.
Call me old school, call me wise. I like my data.
58 minutes, 28 seconds. It hit session compaction twice. That means it filled 160,000 tokens of context, compacted, and then filled it again and compacted, and it's back up to 70,000. So, I mean, it kept going. So one nice thing I'll say is that this model seems to respond well to having its session compacted while it's in the middle of doing something. With other models, including Qwen 3.6 27B, I've seen where the session compaction kicks in and the model just completely forgets what it's doing. It freaks out. But this model soldiered through it. Let's take a look at what it... Okay, so it made a bunch of changes. Let's fire it up and see what we got. Now, the big gaps that I knew about, if I remember correctly, were the crypt stuff. What did you change? Okay. Missing overloads, constructor fixes. Margins listener should have been margins dot listener. Typo. It fixed typos. It used better parameter names instead of G and E. It called them group name and is expanded. That is better. It found methods names that have changed. I mean, this is minor stuff. Wow. Okay, so to be fair, it did find a bunch of little nits that were wrong, but it completely missed the crypt stuff that's not documented, and the version manifest, the application manifest, all of that update handling stuff. It just missed it. When we did this with Qwen 3.6, which one was that? I think it was 35B A3B, the MOE model. It added an entire section with notes and example JSON, and it documented how to set up a local mirror, which was completely undocumented. This missed that entirely. Did I pick the wrong tasks for this evaluation? I don't think these are hard. I picked tasks that require a lot of context, and we've hit session compaction 3 times tonight, once on the first task and twice on this task. Maybe that's affecting it. I don't usually go down to Q4. That's a lower quantization than I prefer using normally, but in order to get the context window I needed, man, I don't know how to score this one. If I'm being objective, I'd say I'm not terribly impressed with either task result. And by the way, while it was going through that 58 minutes and 28 seconds of stuff, I went to submit the changes that it suggested for the bug fix that we looked at earlier, and Copilot doesn't like them. Copilot points out that you got a problem here. There's a scenario where it will end up not attaching the file name to any message, so you end up with orphaned audio records, and those will accumulate over time because they never get added to history. This is a serious problem with this change. What's funny is that Qwen 3.6 didn't find that when I asked it to look at Qwen 3.8's work. I am not having a good night with Qwen. I am not having a good night with Qwen. Did I just pick tasks that are not good tasks for this thing? I don't know what to say here. I feel like I caught it on a bad night. Like its response to these tasks, especially that documentation task. I mean, it nitpicked a bunch of like typos and parameter changes and minor stuff, but it missed glaring obvious gaps in the documentation that the Qwen MOE model, the 3.6 MOE model, found. Is that because session compaction kicked in while it was halfway through that change? Is that because I'm using Q4 instead of I usually use Qwen at Q6? I'm going to have to say that the results of these tests are inconclusive. That's not a satisfying ending, and I know that, but I don't want to come out and say that Qwen 3.8 is overblown, because I'm sure I'm going to watch all the reviews for it tomorrow, and everyone's going to say, oh my god, this model's amazing, and I'm the only guy who's having trouble with it. That might be a me problem. Maybe the tasks I gave it were just bad tasks. Maybe the setup that I'm using is not optimal. I don't know what's going on here. But okay, let's be objective. It missed an obvious bug. It offered a fix that has failed Copilot's code review. And when I asked it to do a documentation task that I have seen succeed with an earlier version of Qwen, it utterly failed to find glaring gaps in the documentation. I'd say it's failed 3 out of 3. It's failed 3 out of 3 tasks that I've put before it. Maybe these are just bad tasks, or maybe I just need to spend more time with this model. I think I'm gonna wrap it there. I'm gonna say these results are inconclusive, and I need to spend more time with this model before I draw any firm conclusions about how good it is. I'd say from this first impression, it's not blowing me away, but it could just be that I picked really bad tasks. These are bad examples. Although now I feel like I'm rationalizing because Qwen 3.6 27B did find that bug. And Qwen 3.6 35B A3B did find those gaps in the documentation with the same prompt and the same starting position. Okay, I'm going to wrap it there. But I'm going to say to be continued. I think we need another round. I think I need to pick another task for Qwen 3.8 because these tasks, maybe I'm asking too much of it with the large context window. So to be continued. ... We're gonna revisit this. I'll leave it there for now. Quick unrelated channel update. You may have noticed that there are now members only videos going up on this channel. Don't panic. It's not going to be a super regular thing. Every once in a while, maybe like once a month, we're going to do a just for fun members only video. The vast majority of videos on this channel will continue to be free for everybody. So don't panic. It's fine. So join our Discord if you haven't already, and post your own experiences with Qwen 3.8 so far. Do you agree with what's happening here tonight, or did I just pick some bad prompts? And we will revisit this in a subsequent episode. So thank you for watching. I know that was not terribly satisfactory, but we will continue this, and we will see you next time. Okay, let's jump right into it. My chair clicked. I've got to get a new chair, you know? This chair has seen better days, and it's showing up on my audio. All right, 3, 2, 1.